inside the new McLaren 650S at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and we've just been out for a few laps around the track in this vehicle. I'm sitting here with Horst Bulow, who's the McLaren representative at Pfaff Motors, and he's going to tell us more about the details on this McLaren. The 650S, the way I see it, is more of an evolution of the MP412C. It basically has the same engine, upgraded a little bit for the new car. It's got the same V8 twin turbo 3.8 liter. Same carbon fiber monocoque chassis. So basically it's more of an evolution of the MP412C.
Yeah, and that's McLaren's focus too. I mean, you don't want to have a revolution, you want to have evolution, and as a lot of car manufacturers try to do that, McLaren is basically doing the same. So the carbon chassis, or tub as a lot of people like to call it, is famous for McLaren, and this is carried on into this car, and that'll carry on into the future as more cars come out. So no major change there. The 3.8 liter twin turbo engine has been tweaked a little bit, not with just software. There's been some other components with regards to heads and such have been tweaked a little bit. So 641 horsepower now from the 616 horsepower. The torque is key. It went up to 500 foot-pounds of torque from 441. So that's a big one.
You can feel it out there. It's definitely something that I think most enthusiasts overlook, is that torque number. Everybody thinks about the horsepower number, but it's really the torque that gets you going. It's the horsepower that gives you the top speed. So I mean, to be able to coax that more torque out of the engine is a good bit of engineering. Was it done a lot with software too? And
combination of both. You know, some internal and some software, and this is they're always striving for more. They're a technological company, Formula One company, so we'll probably see some more tweaks in the next 2 to 3 years on this car and on the future cars to come.
Great. Now we're sitting in the convertible version. Is there a technical term for this that McLaren uses?
Well, we call it a Spider also.
The Spider?
Yeah. So there's the coupe that's available and the Spider. There's only a $20,000 difference approximately between the coupe and the Spider. Because of the carbon chassis, again, the car is very rigid. So there's no loss there compared to a coupe. So we don't feel any body flex like we do on some other manufacturers' convertibles. So when we're out on the track, you know, we're as solid on the track as we would be in a coupe. Definitely.
That was certainly something that you could really feel out there on the track. It's a very rigid chassis, which really contributes to the handling characteristics of it. I was really impressed with the level of grip that the car has. It also comes now with the carbon ceramic brakes. And the large 6-piston calipers up front, and those are just phenomenal to feel how the way they throw at the anchor, sort of. As with the McLaren MP412C, it has the active aero to not only increase downforce at the back, but the wing will flip up to
the air brake
to add to the amount of braking at high speed. Great stuff. So, what would this set back average? Price for walking out the door with one of these?
Average customer right now is spending in the 360 range, roughly 360, 365 on a Spider. Coupes are kind of in that 340 type range, pre-tax, of course. Government needs their share. But yeah, I mean, it really comes down to all the equipment you want to put on the car with regards to carbon fiber interior components or exterior components. Reality is there are no engine upgrades, brake upgrades. There is a sport exhaust, a little bit lighter exhaust, a little throatier. That could be a bit of a benefit. There are some lighter wheels that can be a bit of a benefit if you're a little bit more of a track enthusiast. But other than that, they're performance-wise, they're all the same. So if you bought pretty much a basic car, you've got yourself a really, really nice car. And the base price starts at $305,500 pre-freight and PDI.
Now, McLaren, when they came out with the MP412C, one of their goals was naturally to keep the car as light as possible. And as I recall, it was down around the 3,000-pound mark. Has this increased at all in its weight?
It hasn't. Actually, this car has come down about 50 pounds or so. The neat thing is the Spider also has about an 80 kilo difference between the coupes, so not a big difference. The average Spider typically, you know, creates over well over 200 pounds difference, more in the 120 to maybe 150 kilo range between the coupe. So McLaren's done a fantastic job by keeping the weight down in this car.
Well, yeah, that's a big component of the Spider, and getting that extra structure in there to keep it as rigid as the coupe. And, and they've been able to do that. So that's really good news from McLaren. If someone was to order their 650S, how long would it take them before they could expect delivery?
Well, we're pretty fortunate in Canada. We have our dealership in Toronto, we have our dealership in Vancouver. You know, McLaren for Canada pretty much gives us free reign. So if somebody walks in and says, I want a car, I call them and say, you know, what's my next allocation slot, and they, you know, they book me an allocation. So anywhere from 4 to 6 months typically.
Now, if I order mine with that beautiful orange and the white number circle on the front with a number 4, and for out of respect for Bruce McLaren, can I get one of those?
I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could. I mean, they pretty much do whatever you want. The McLaren has a special operations department, and they love to spend the customers' money.
Thank you very much, Horst, for the
thank you
for the chance to drive this fine machine. And
our pleasure. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.
It is a super car, and it's that evolution past the MP412C, and it's well done on McLaren.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Great.